You've made it to Chiro Hustle Live. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This episode is brought to you by Clothes for Chiro, Chiro Sushi, Barbara Eaton's 56-day chiropractic boot camp, California Jam, Move Well University, the Black Diamond Club, Pure Chiro Notes, the Chiro Dex app, Dr. Alok Trivedi, Chiro Spark, Chirogram, Chiropractic Wealth Management, 8 Weeks to Wellness, Integrative Freedom, and Element Mattresses. Let's hustle.
We are live. Hey guys, Jim Chester with the Chiro Hustle podcast. It's a great honor for me to talk with Dr. Matthew Walker today. Our sponsorship today is not by one of my typical sponsors, it's by Palmer Rugby. And I think that that's really cool because this is going full circle. Dr. Matthew Walker is the one founder of getting me into the chiropractic profession. So I just want to say thank you to you, Dr. Matthew.
Yeah, man, it's been a blessing to have you, jump in both feet first and seeing you grow to what you are right now. I mean, it's truly amazing. You never know how far reaching, right?
Yeah. And, that started at Palmer. And that's a big premise of our conversation today. We're going to talk about Palmer. We're going to talk about the legacy of Palmer. We're going to talk about the future of Palmer. But let's talk a little bit about the why of what you're doing and a little bit more about the Palmer Rugby program.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many places we could start. At the end of the day, we're trying to spread the word of chiropractic through athletic excellence. That's the bottom line, that what Palmer Rugby represents. I love the shirt you got on right now. And we're trying to help chiropractic as a whole, so I think one of the things that we really want to focus on talking about today is the Dr. David D. Palmer Athletic Trust Symposium. We do an annual event that's basically a fundraiser, and we've got some killer continuing education speakers coming in, 12 hours on a Friday and Saturday. So you can get out of there Sunday and be with your family. We have a banquet on Saturday night, and the who's who within the Palmer, foundation and people trying to make a legacy there are going to be there. Over 200 people last year. There'll be some great rugby played by our current teams on Saturday afternoon. So it's a jam-packed weekend, tons of fun to be had. Great education, mentorship. There's just so much that's going to be, you're not going to want to miss it. I mean,
So let's turn the clock back a little bit. I know we had a really nice pre-interview chat, and we talked a little bit about the history of Palmer Rugby. So let's shine a light on that and talk to our audience a little bit about what Palmer Rugby has done for chiropractic.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is so few people know. Palmer Rugby's been around since 1960. It was founded by Dr. David D. Palmer. It's been around for half the profession's life. Great athletes were brought in from around other countries, like Fred Schofield. A lot of people know his name, and they helped shape the college and the profession. Many of them went back to their home countries, whether it be New Zealand, South Africa, Europe, countries in Europe, to bring chiropractic to those countries. Many rugby alumni have led, pretty much every major chiropractic entity, that's trying to influence the profession. A rugby alumni has been involved in it at some point as a leader. This organization, Palmer Rugby, has just bred leaders that have gone and pushed the chiropractic profession up. And Fred Schofield is a perfect example of that.
Yeah, you did touch on a little bit about what he did. Let's talk about the road show that Fred started with Palmer Rugby and the symposium.
Yeah, that's great that you bring me back there. So this event that we're putting on, the Dr. David D. Palmer Athletic Trust Symposium, Sports Symposium, it started out, Fred started putting it on his own, basically 12 hours in a hotel with rugby alumni. I think it's about 17 years ago now. Fred did it on his own for 12 hours in a weekend on his own. Didn't charge. He didn't take any money out of it. He was just giving back. And he did that for, I think, 9 years. And then we did it in Dallas one year, and Fred came to me and said, let's take this to the Fountainhead. So we did. So the last 6 years it's been in Davenport. I don't see any reason why we should move it ever again. Let's keep bringing people back to the Fountainhead. It's where it all started. There's this, and Palmer College is reinvesting in itself, hand over fist. They got a new rec center that is, it's the newest thing in Davenport, really. And they're really trying to listen to their students and the potential students that are saying, we want, the best of the best, a workout facility and wellness center. They're talking about putting an athletic field on campus, everything, not just for rugby. I think that they've got a potential baseball diamond on there, soccer pitch, trying to make it part of the community. And this is part of supporting that. That's this event. Everything that we generate, all the revenue from this event goes straight back to the college and supporting Palmer Rugby and supporting the college's mission to help improve the chiropractic profession overall.
Well, something you said in there is the support. And I want to touch on a really unique thing that you guys are doing with the group. And I don't know when it started, but you guys have started a scholarship program. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, for the longest time, I think in the 80s, they started issuing 9 scholarships. That was expanded to 15 for just men's rugby at one point. Most recently, it's expanded to 30 full scholarships to play rugby at Palmer. So we've got a team of, I think, 70 to 80 players that are receiving some form of financial aid. And just 10 years ago, I think a little over 10 years ago, Tracy Francis needs mention. She started a women's program, walking around the halls of Palmer College, handing out little pieces of paper, asking people if they'd write down their email address, if they're interested in playing rugby, asking women. Now there's a women's program that's thriving, went to the playoffs recently. So, we continue to give back, and this event is our annual event that just brings everybody together and continues to form and shape the future of not just Palmer Rugby, but Palmer College and the chiropractic profession. I mean, this organization creates leaders that go out and push the profession up.
When you told me that story about Tracy going around, it almost brought a tear to my eye, because it just tells me that if you just take one person's initiative, you can do anything in this world and make it positive if you have the right influence behind it. Yeah,
it's so true. It's about intention, right? She had great intention, and she changed the future.
And I want to go back to a name that you mentioned earlier, Fred. I know that he's such an integral part of the beginning of that program there at Palmer and the rugby and the old boys group. Let's talk a little bit about how just one person has changed so many lives.
Yeah. I mean, as I go around in the chiropractic profession, I've been out 10 years now. Pretty much everybody I meet of influence, Fred has touched them one way or another, and he still is. He's still hustling in practice. He's out every weekend giving seminars, whatever he can get his hands on, and whoever will open their mind to him, he's pouring into them. And he's one of the, foundational pieces of this, but there are, 10, 20 other people like him in the background, pushing the envelope on spreading the word of chiropractic through athletic excellence, supporting these scholarship programs, getting on conference calls on a monthly basis, trying to figure out how to improve, our outcomes and push the profession up.
Yeah, that's really, it's interesting, because I've had a chance to meet some of the guys behind the scenes, but Fred does have definitely a polarizing effect on people.
Oh, yeah.
If he's in the same room with you, you know who he is.
You're not paying attention. He's definitely going to ask you a question that makes you think about something.
He'll probably get you doing some push-ups.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk a little bit about how people can support Palmer and how they can support this program.
Well, the number one thing right now is, show up to the symposium. 3 things that I say: register for the symposium, Okay, it's an annual event. You get 12 hours of CE. It's $299. I think right now they're about to push the price up to $349. We can put a link in the comments so people can go there. We've got 7 rockin' speakers. I think I told you earlier, this event started out in a side room off a bar called the Redstone Room, or a music venue. And Dr. Paula Sheedy catered the event for us because we were on a shoestring budget. We probably had 80 guys show up and a few ladies. And now we are 7 years later here. We're at the Black Hawk Hotel. We had 200 plus people at the event last year. It was standing room only with a red carpet rolled out for people to walk in. So we continue to push the envelope on this event. We've taken it from Fred to, I think we had 3 speakers, and then to 4 speakers. And now this year we've expanded to 7 speakers. You've got a killer lineup of speakers. Fred kicks it off and gets the energy high for an hour. And you got Deed Harrison, the #1 chiropractic researcher in the world, with chiropractic biophysics, coming in and teaching you how posture can affect, your athletic performance. Anybody ever seen it? I'm sure there's a lot of chiropractors following this, but you ever seen the picture of Peyton Manning where his head's crooked off to the side because they fused him that way? Well, CVP probably could have fixed that.
I remember early on when we actually worked and lived together, we had that conversation.
Yeah, it was right when it was happening. You got Matt Hartenberg, a young doc who is really into research, and he's bringing a new component that I've used for myself in endurance and triathlon training with heart rate variability and how to measure where you're at as far as energy levels and ensure that you don't overtrain. We got Brad Glowacki. He's talking about concussion at this, but he's just, he's world-renowned speaker. Talking about these guys have all major influence in the profession. Brad is a great communicator. You got Dr. Roberto Monaco on Sunday morning talking to people about how to influence their communities by increasing their speaking presence. You got Alan Sokoloff, Baltimore Ravens, NFL chiropractor, Maryland College chiropractor, president of the Maryland State Chiropractic Association, coming to talk to us about liability and making sure you're saying the right things when you're talking to people, especially in sports chiropractic. And then you got Kevin Herron, who's been around forever, Dr. Kevin Herron. He's a master with extremities. So we laid this out with these 7 guys. There's nothing you're going to miss. You're going to get jam-packed with good information on different fronts that can help you grow your practice. So we're excited to bring this lineup this year.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I'm going to just give my my opinion on the speakers you have coming. I think that first and foremost, having Fred and Brad and Kevin and the whole crew, Alan, I think that it's just it's a good mix of people with different levels of strategy for influence. And I think that they talk the talk and they walk the walk. And you have actual tours in there that are actually still in training, still in work, people that are actually out there still serving their communities with their hands and their minds and hearts. I think that's really cool about the people you have speaking there is all these people are tribesmen of the chiropractic philosophy, but they're actually out there taking care of people still implementing what they believe in and still pushing the envelope for research, like you said, with Deed Harrison. And guys like Roberto Monaco, you almost said doctor, and people do that to me all the time. They almost say Dr. Jim, because, when you have people out there like Roberto that have such a profound impact on the chiropractic profession, teaching people how to talk the tick better, how to become educators, how to become communicators. I think that is one part of the chiropractic world that we need to really focus on and hone. And I think that that's why, people are paid to teach people how to speak, because if you don't communicate the process properly, you don't run a business properly.
Yep. He's somebody I'm really excited to hear about. Some alumni pushed his name up to the front of the pack, and He's one of the few people, or the only person in the lineup that I haven't seen speak personally. So he's one of the people I'm most excited about seeing.
Yeah, that was going to be that was going to be
impacted so many of my buddies' practices by teaching them how to speak.
Yeah, that was going to be one of my next questions is who are you excited to see there? And I know that you've had a history with some of these guys that are speaking, but I think Hartenberg is going to be kind of the unsung hero of this event because of, nobody's really, I've never seen him speak at, and I've never heard anything about the research that he's been doing. So I'm really excited to see what he's going to be sharing.
Me too. I think that's a good point to highlight him. We decided as a board that we wanted to bring on one new person every year, like new to speaking and providing continuing education. And Matt had helped me with some things that was helping my training. So, being a sports conference, we thought that it made sense. And we hope that every year we're able to highlight a young speaker and give them a platform.
Well, it could also start a huge career pattern because I know that out there, the Berkshires, they bring on new talent that people don't know about, and they give them a platform to start a speaking career. And I think that that's really unique. What you guys have decided to do is bringing on some homegrown talent and allowing them to be a part of growing the future generation of Palmer rugby as well.
Yeah, we called him up from AAA.
Exactly. You got to work the farm team. So let's talk about women's rugby. I know that that's something that people might not know a whole lot about. And how has Palmer helped with the future of women's rugby?
I mean, the fact that you can become a doctor of chiropractic and play rugby as a woman and get a full scholarship, there's just not opportunities like that out there. I mean, same for men, but the women's rugby around the country is growing leaps and bounds. And I think Palmer has positioned itself perfectly to be, the place that you go to finish off your career before you go start that next life, of practicing and being a doctor and practicing. Women's rugby has grown significantly. They field a full team in the beginning. They had to, borrow people off the streets, and University of Iowa, they'd call girls in from, or ladies. So I'm just excited to see our alumni base grow with a female contingent too. That so many bright minds, and these ladies, they work their tails off. They don't come, as if they're empowered. They are out there putting it in. They're some of the hardest workers I've seen.
That's cool. I think that what you guys are doing with the full, you guys have taken the full volume of what Palmer means. And now you're really shining a spotlight on how we can push this profession forward from the fountainhead. And I think one of those leverage points is the rugby legacy.
In the equality, this profession needs women in it, and strong women that lead. So this is just like, so many of those organizations that I talked about around the world from these old boy rugby alumni. Now we're going to have female coming out of this organization, I think, really pressing up and leading the profession too.
Yeah, I think it's honorable, man. And I think we just got a comment here from Dr. Dale Smith. I always like recognizing Dr. Dale. Yeah. No matter how you practice, this event will bring you some gold. And I think that's so true. I think that even me being an outsider, just doing the film work that I did last year and being a part of the group, I came away with takeaways of knowledge from just being a part. I think it was like the osmosis of all the doctors around me, but I walked away with a lot of confidence in myself and my direction just because I was around all you guys. So I think that anybody that determines that they wanted to go to the athletic symposium and just see the fellowship and brotherhood of this group, it's second to none.
Well, how cool was it that you did interviews at our event, and then the next year it's like everywhere you look, Jim Chester's doing interviews? Wasn't our event the first place that you did interviews at?
It was, and that's, we're back to the old drawing board, Walker. We're making plays, and like you said, hey, let's do these live events, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to figure that out. And we brought that to the event for the first one. And I've gone all across the country now sharing the chiropractic message from the people that are the voice of this profession, and giving people the chance to have a megaphone to talk into and to share their story and talk about their experiences. And I think it's been a really cool experience for me to be able to be in the Palmer rugby family, and to be a part of that brotherhood as well.
And now you're doing it again. Look, you're about to run 30, 40 interviews for us, basically pro bono, which much love, man, for you putting it in and bringing awareness to our group. That comes full circle as you see it all the time. At 30, 40 interviews, how fast did we come up with 30, 40 people to talk to?
We came up with a list in a matter of 3 days. We had 72 hours, and we had like 40 people on the roster for interviews.
It's awesome. And your assistants almost got them all scheduled already.
Yeah, it's pretty cool when you have a concentration of what you want to accomplish and you have support doing it. And I think that that's something that we talked about early on is, visionaries have good vision, but they all need support to get to where they're going. And I can't say enough about Myra for what she's done for the Chiro Hustle movement and what she's done as a support unit for getting the chiropractic message out there, and really allowing me to do what I'm best at, and that's talking to people.
Yeah, man. I felt like when we talked for 15 minutes before this started, it was like the interview should have just started right then. We had so much good conversation. We're rehashing a lot of it, which is great. I think we should talk about, the banquet at Touch too.
Let's do that. And I know you guys do a great award ceremony and recognize a lot of people in the group too.
Yeah. So we have a red carpet event Saturday night. We expect it to be standing room only again. Probably going to push 200-300 people at the event. Trevor Ireland is expected to be there, the chairman and board of trustees for Palmer College, the chancellor and CEO, Denny Marchiori, expected to be there. There'll be trustees in the crowd, vice chancellors from the administration. The entire men's and women's current players will be there. A number of both men and women alumni, rugby alumni, and alumni too. There's a lot of supporters that show up. It's family friendly. There'll be wives there and moms and dads there. It's just a great event that brings everybody together. For me, that's the highlight. That's what caps the weekend off. And if you missed, you shouldn't miss the speakers for sure, but you don't want to miss the banquet just the same.
Yeah, and you don't want to miss the game either, because I know you guys put the team out there and allow the people that come in from far away to see rugby played. And I think that that's really the major premise of this whole thing is rugby.
Yeah. If you're interested in rugby specifically, the game's awesome. The teams play their hearts out that weekend. You can tell they're really, trying to step their game up one notch because you got a huge crowd on the sideline supporting them.
Yeah, I think that was one of my favorite things, just hanging out with the guys on the sideline, watching the games played, and just being around like my old friends. And I love that you guys bring it back to Davenport, because if people don't know, that's my old stomping grounds. I lived in Davenport for 30 years, and it's near and dear in my heart to be so involved with Palmer, because it's always casted a shadow on my community. And if people don't know, Davenport, Iowa is not the safest place to live, but I think because of Palmer's influence, it actually makes the city a lot better place to live, and it gives a foundation and if you can, a cornerstone for a unit in the middle of that city that keeps it vibrant.
Right, and they're doing that's part of Palmer's master plan, is expanding and putting corners and boundaries on their campus and put in an athletic field and creating some more green space, which is good for the overall community.
Yeah, and without Palmer being there and me being 16 years old and getting injured playing high school football, I don't know what chiropractic is.
Right.
So
I had a similar story. I was 20 years old and had a football injury. I hurt my neck, and Dr. Mamashidi took me under her wing and got me adjusted and got me back on the field a week later. When it was thought that I wasn't going to play football maybe ever again.
You've made it to Chiro Hustle Live. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This episode is brought to you by Clothes for Chiro, Chiro Sushi, Barbara Eaton's 56-day chiropractic boot camp, California Jam, Move Well University, the Black Diamond Club, Pure Chiro Notes, the Chiro Dex app, Dr. Alok Trivedi, Chiro Spark, Chirogram, Chiropractic Wealth Management, 8 Weeks to Wellness, Integrative Freedom, and Element Mattresses. Let's hustle.
That school's given so much to the community in Davenport, and I just want to see people continuously support Palmer. And the Palmer Rugby program has definitely put a huge influence in the world of chiropractic. Like you said, it's touched almost every corner of the profession because that is where it all started. And with BJ's big vision, his big idea, and Dee Dee's ability to make it an actual concept of a profession and start a school, I think, being 2018, I think it's 122 years old as a profession, and you said that we're pushing into 60 years of Palmer Rugby. I mean, the rugby program's been around for half the time of the profession, so almost every corner of the earth that's been touched by a chiropractic adjustment has started at Palmer.
Yeah. I mean, in Palmer Rugby, we're trying to open our arms and just bring everybody in. Come be a part of this with us,
Well, I think
for a long time it was thought to be just strictly an exclusive group. And yeah, there's some exclusivity to it. There's old boys that have just tremendous memories traveling the country, traveling the world together, playing rugby. But we're opening our arms and saying, come be a part of all this great things that we're learning, that we're pushing the profession up. And we want more influencers that want to be a part of this. That's why we expanded our speaking lineup the way we did. In the beginning, it was just rugby alumni, but now we've got, Roberto Monaco, Deed Harrison, Brad Glowacki, those are non-rugby alumni, and they're coming out here on their own dime to be a part of this and help us expand our reach and just influence more people, not just chiropractors in the profession, but, everybody that has far reaching beyond just the doc in practice that's going to come learn from them. It's going to impact their patient base, impact their communities.
Yeah, and I say kudos to everything for what you're doing, and I'm going to go back to what Dale Smith says here is you both give to this profession unconditionally and much appreciated for what you do. And, with Dale as a part of this team, I just think that we have such a leader there that gets people enrolled into becoming future chiropractors. And I think that Dale, I can't even tell you a quantifiable number how many people he's had impact on going through the Palmer program and playing rugby there. But just for the time I've known him, he's been nothing but supportive of what we've done as a team as well.
I mean, he's one of the biggest supporters in the Palmer Rugby Foundation. He started, Memphis has a 7-on-7 rugby tournament in August every year, and he hosts entire team in his house that'll show up. I mean, he's got like 30, 40 people in his house sometimes there to play rugby that weekend. Palmer brings a couple sides. When he first started doing that, I was one of the first players that got to be a part of that. And, there was like 8 of us playing for 7-on-7. So we didn't really have subs. We had one team. Dale took us in, took care of us, showed us his clinic, showed us, what being a chiropractor was all about. And it's just grown. And I've kind of learned from him in that way. And we're trying to do the same thing with the symposium. It started a little bit smaller, and every year it gets bigger. And I expect this year to be the biggest year yet. We've got greats coming back that weren't involved, like Dr. Eric Seiler. He was the original founding president of the Rugby Alumni Association, the Old Boys, and he came back last year, was one of the first recipients of the Legacy Award, which is a pretty cool award to get out there. You get a sweet silver cup that you can drink out of the rest of your life, like a chalice. And Tony Piana, the president after him, at this point, there's been 4 rugby alumni presidents, and I think they're all going to be there this year. So that's, leaders are coming out of the woodwork to help inspire and give knowledge and just bring this profession up as we continue to see. You got Scott Castile chiming in here.
Yeah, we love Scotty.
Yeah, another old boy that's just poured in. Who knows how many people students he's referred to chiropractic. I've heard the myth is it's in the 40s. Almost a person a year or two go to become a chiropractor because Scott Castile's influence on them.
Yeah, and since day one, he's always been supportive of what we do as well. So I've never even really tapped into how much we could grow the profession from my influence from this group. So it's really cool that I'm going to be able to go one by one and interview all these guys.
Oh, man, it's gonna be very cool to hear these stories. The untold stories of Palmer rugby and how it's changed the history. I mean, I'm really interested in seeing your interview with Fred Schofield. I know there's a couple more that'll be great interviews on there for you. Some of these female, some of our women rugbers, players and alumni alike that you're going to interview. I think it's going to be exciting to see that. Get the word out from their perspective.
I have a direct question for you. What has Palmer Rugby done for you, and why are you so involved?
I mean, it's made me what I am today. I mean, it saved my health, first off, at an early age, 19, 20 years old, I think I was, when Mama Sheedy took me in and adjusted me, got me right. It's led me to my wife, also a chiropractor. I mean, it's really the foundation of who I am. I feel like Palmer rugby, I had never played rugby. I was a football player. And, I heard about the opportunity to earn a scholarship, and I said, let's do it. I'm an athlete. I'm not ready to give it up at 23 years old. I can continue to pursue education and help people and run my own business. It all made a ton of sense to me, and do it from a natural perspective. I mean, it is me and to my core. And I think it is a lot of these people you're going to interview, you're going to see that same thing. The brotherhood is deep, and we all share similar passions. Everybody has their own philosophies on things, but at the end of the day, we're trying to help change our communities, help people in any way, shape, form we can. And all these people you're going to interview, they've bled on a rugby field with each other, and that's a whole different perspective to try to play at the level that, these athletes are playing at while going to a doctorate education program. You really lean on each other. You're studying in vans, driving across the country on airplanes. Sometimes you don't feel like it because you're tired as, all get out from playing a couple of hard games, but you got to show up to the classroom still, and you got to pass your classes and come out and start serving. So, I mean, it really shapes you.
Well, what pushed you to the front of the line to say, I want to help lead this organization?
I don't know. It had given so much to me. I had a full scholarship by the time I graduated. I felt I was indebted for life, really. And I just felt like I had the ability to, too, so I just wanted to keep pushing on. It's always been a part of charity and giving back. Probably you really got to give all the credit to Mama Sheedy taking me under her wing and getting me adjusted at such an early age. And it wasn't ever about money. It was just about helping me.
Well, let's talk about the 3 tenets that people can do to be a part of this group. There's time, there's talent, and there's treasure. Let's talk about those things and what that means to the group.
So time, obviously, get involved. We've got 4 members of our board. The Dr. David E. Palmer Athletic Trust is kind of the engine behind this. President, executive director, we just expanded. So we've got an opening right now where we can bring somebody new on. So give time. This year, our push is that everybody has like a vice board member that's kind of being groomed to learn what goes on behind the scenes. Because all the board members and myself, we've all been the same people for the last 8 years, and we need young talent coming on. And not young necessarily, but new talent, people who want to get involved, getting on the conference calls and giving ideas. So time their treasure, donate. These organizations are self-funded through donation and then running events like this. So register for the symposium. All that money that you paid for your continuing education goes right back into the profession, right back into this organization. So, this is an annual fundraiser that should be $50,000 to $100,000 a year from this one weekend. And then we've got a number of people who donate $85 a month. So, that's $1,000 a year to help continue to perpetuate the scholarship program, to fund developments on campus. And we fund an academic scholarship too. So it's not just about sports. The majority of it's about sports, but we try to support everything that Palmer College wants, their mission, and every venue. We want to be there along their side supporting them. So time, treasure, and then talent is just, what are you good at that you can bring to the table? Are you a speaker? Can you bring speaking to the table? It's whatever you think you can contribute, get it on paper, get it in an email, send it to us, and let's figure out how to get people more involved.
So what you're saying is you're making room for people to be influencers.
Exactly. Yeah. So, register for this event, refer students to chiropractic, specifically Palmer College, refer, and then donate, donate your time, donate your money. That's what it's about. Register, refer, and donate your time, talent, and treasure.
And I know this isn't for personal gain, but what is it doing for? Let's talk future now before we end our awesome interview about Palmer Rugby. What does it do for the future of chiropractic, having a strong organization that is turning out more chiropractors?
I mean, it creates a solid basis for us to grow from. You're only as good as your foundation. So you need these organizations that are unified and supporting one another to grow from. And you're not just out there by yourself. You have a group to turn to. That's where a lot, I think, people get lost, especially in the chiropractic profession. You're turned out as an individual to go run a private practice typically. And unless you have groups to come back to, there are going to be questions, no matter where you're at in business and life, that you don't have the answer to, and somebody else does. Mm-hmm. So use the organizations. Don't try to do everything on your own. And these groups support one another in a way that, make people stronger. Are you stronger as a unified group and linked together? Or are you stronger as a segmented individual out on your own? So that's what this is about. Come back, be a part of a group that's trying to improve and grow the profession and have some good camaraderie. And with this group, definitely doesn't take themselves too serious. Don't take my personality as what emulates this group. Most people see me as very serious, but this group's got a lot of fun in it.
Yeah, it's cool, man. It's really good to rekindle our friendship on this Facebook Live. Is there anything that I didn't cover with you that you'd like to share with our audience?
Yeah, I think one last thing that we need to highlight here is the Alumni Association LLC. It's the largest donor to the Dr. David D. Palmer Athletic Trust. It's basically a pass-through entity that I started and made affiliate relationships with a couple companies. One of them is Local Gold. It's a marketing company. They set up websites and do a great job of search engine optimization. They got sites they start up for as little as $1.99 a month. And they give a significant kickback, 20% on a residual to the Alumni Association, which turns and donates it back to the Dr. David D. Palmer Athletic Trust. Everybody needs a website for their practice. So we try to make it simple. And I've had great results with this company. So I'm just sharing what's helped me grow my practice, get to where I'm at these days. And the other one is a credit card processing company. We all take credit card payments. So we set up a residual relationship with a company called Persolvent. They've assured us that they will match or beat anybody's current rates. And then they give us a small percentage of that. Usually ends up being about $25 a month. But, if you've got 100 people doing that, they're saving money in their practice with their credit card processing. We're getting a little kickback on it. We're donating it back to the profession. It just makes sense. Why not give your credit card processing fees back to a chiropractic organization, and support a chiropractic than to your bank. So that was my thought process behind it.
Well, it's very noble for what you're doing, Matt. I love the direction that I've seen you go in from our early days of just being buddies and seeing each other become who we are today. It's really an honor for us to be on the same path together, to be steering the ship with our abilities, and to be able to continuously make an impact for the future of chiropractic. It's great for all these people that have been on the feed with us today. I'm just going to throw a quick shout out to a couple of them. I know we've mentioned Dale Smith, but gosh, that guy is such a promoter and supporter of chiropractic, and he's he if you cut him, he'd bleed rugby. And
he literally has the Palmer Rugby crest on his calf tattooed. So it's gonna go down with him.
He's already bled rugby.
His whole family does.
And Sean Rundle,
he can't leave his wife out. Carol, is just as big a presence as Dale is.
Oh yeah,
pushing.
she's definitely always present, and she's always supportive of Palmer Rugby. And Dale couldn't do it without her. So kudos to Carol for supporting Dale and Palmer Rugby.
On that one.
And Sean Rundle with the Close for Chiro group. Awesome supporters of the Chiro Hustle podcast. I can't say enough about what those guys are doing, teaching chiropractors how to become successful with their day one, day twos, and making them more of a business entity than just an adjuster.
Yeah, no doubt. I can speak to that personally too. Sean Rundle has helped me in practice. The people that run Close for Chiro, I've been to presentations, seminars where they've just delivered tons of value.
Yeah, so I think we're going to close up today, Dr. Walker, and say thank you to you, and thank you to Palmer Rugby, and thank you for this platform to be able to share what you guys are going to be doing. The dates are April 13th and 14th in Davenport, Iowa. Get involved, see the 7 speakers, watch some rugby being played, come to the banquet, build some fellowship, build some legacy, and step up and do what you can.
Are you going to be there, Jim?
Oh, yeah. Anybody that wants to get together and have a chat with me, I'd love to just get knee to knee with you, or put arms around each other and embrace each other and talk the tick, and see what we can do to make this chiropractic profession more bright for the future. And I think that we're getting out of the dark ages of confusion with this profession, and we're really going towards a concentrated effort to share a new languaging of the profession, which is definitely needed because there's a lot of confusion around what's going on.
Yeah. Love you, man. You are a big part of that, and what you're doing and developing a media company. What's your undergrad degree in?
Marketing and journalism.
Right. So it's right up your alley. You found your fit, and I'm so proud of you.
Well, the other day we had the conversation, and you said, I support what you're doing 100%. That meant a lot to me, and it means that I'm on the right path. So I look forward to developing this chiropractic media company and having your full support. And, I know it can't be done with just me, and it needs to be supported just like what you're doing with Palmer Rugby. Yeah, we need to support the future communication of this profession to the public.
Yeah. Yeah, keep smashing it, man. I look forward to seeing all these interviews you do. Hopefully I can get on one or two of them with you and help out in the process.
Cool. Well, thanks for making some time today and sharing the story. And let's get everybody to Davenport, Iowa for the Palmer Rugby Alumni Symposium, April 13th and 14th. And I'll see you guys there.
Yeah, we'll put the registration link in the bottom. Love everybody. See you in Davenport, April 13th, 14th.
All right. See you, Matt.
Thank you for listening to Chiro Hustle Live. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.